Hey, Shalom Alkims Rakam Akapash from GMS London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Chadash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, person in truth and all sincerity. Back again with another video. I'm just going to title this one Economic Woes, man. And you know what? We sound like broken records, man. But prophecy is always moving, and it's always worthy to mention when new developments come around. I know you're gonna hear the same type of scriptures being used, man, because that's just simply the time we're in, man. And it's okay that, we're out here repeating ourselves, because, hey, we're blowing the trumpet, man. Okay, that's what we're meant to be doing, man. Okay, it ain't a one-time thing. Prophecy is continuously moving, man. So we're going to sound like that to these people, or these knuckleheads that, you know, that, are halfway listening to us, and, they get, you know, annoyed that we're out here speaking about these things, um, you know, put in, or for lack of a better word, man, darkness upon their world, man, fucking up the day, so to speak, right? Because they don't want to hear about all these prophecies about the destruction of their world, and everything that's going to be happening, and the pain that people are going to be going through soon. Hey, they don't want to hear that, man. They love this world, and they want to, continue in on it, man. But we're telling you, man, this is the end. This is the end, man. Okay, so we don't care, about you guys out there that, fed up of hearing us, man. Hey, don't watch the videos, innit? It's as simple as that, man. But the men of the Lord and those that want to know what's going on, right? They're gonna listen, man. And we're gonna keep bringing out these scriptures, man. So, it is what it is, man. But I actually wanted to bring out, a few articles, like I said, economic woes, right? Today here in the UK, before I start here, they just bumped up the interest rates again. All right. To 3%, okay, which is a 0.75% increase, right? So yeah, those on credit, okay, those have got loans out and all that kind of stuff, man. And they ain't got no fixed rates. They're getting screwed right now. A lot of people are gonna, forfeit on businesses, on houses, and other things, right? Because these payments are fucking skyrocketing, man. This place has been too used to low credit. Okay, it's been low for a long time, right? If you go back through interest rates, right, there's been times where interest rates have been a lot higher, right? And it could even go back up there again. Okay, but the real problem is that the fact that this country's had low credit for such a long time, and these people taking out all these loans on this low credit are now having to pay, 2 or 3 times more than they had to before. Whereas maybe the differences back then were less. So people are already struggling. All right, so let me just read some of this. All right, it says Bank of England warns of longest recession since the 1930s. Right, so hey, that's what it is in recession time now. Right, something we knew was going to happen. Right, so interest rate rise to 3% is the biggest since 1989, and fears UK economy may go into a longer, deeper recession. Yeah, man, recession, depression, all of that's coming, man. All right. And they're trying to make it not sound so bad. Our bank signal rates probably won't go much higher. Well, what's that? What does that mean? No, what's the range on that? Okay, what is much higher, right? The Bank of England has increased the cost of borrowing by 0.75 percentage points to 3%, despite predicting that higher interest rates would push the economy into longest recession since the 1930s. Right, so they knew or believed it could push the economy into a longer recession, or the longest recession. Okay, but they did it anyway. All right, because of because of the inflation. Right, it's kicking everybody's asses, which they're trying to tell you it's like 10.1% or something like that, man. But there's products going up mad prices. 60% and stuff like that, man. So I don't know. Well, we all know, but this 10.1% ain't correct, man. Ain't accurate. Okay, people are feeling more than just a 10% on the cost of their their goods that they buy. Much more than 10%. This is yeah. So yeah, inflation rate is supposed to be 10.1% in September, right? Let's have a look. So the bank blamed higher energy prices and tight labor market for the decision to increase interest rates, matching rises in the last week by the U.S. Federal Reserve and European Central Bank. Right, they're all doing it. Right, so even though this is a UK article, man, they're all doing it. Right. Um, So the bank expects inflation, which hit 10.1% in September, to peak at 11% by the end of 2022, and then to fall probably quite sharply. So this, the hopium, they're selling the hopium, right, to not worry the people, right? But you see, we'll see when next year comes into play, okay, if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down, all right? If nothing changes, why would it go down? There's problems in the earth, man, that don't look like they're going to change anytime soon. Ever. So why would it go down? Why are they telling that it could probably sharply go down? Where's that coming from? Right, I guess we'll see, right? My suspicion that it just goes up, but we'll see, right? Because we know they can manipulate the markets and do whatever, but there's no real reason why it would go down. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Consumer spending and business confidence are expected to be hit, leading to a 2-year recession that will be longer, if not deeper, than the slumps in the 1930s, right? So, like I mentioned, interest rates have been higher, a lot higher in previous years, like 1980s, in the 80s, yeah. But the issue is this low credit from 2010 or 2008, probably, right? Where this low credit's been all this time, and now it's just shot up all of a sudden. So people that had these loans out in this time, like that's hard to cope with, right? That's hard to cope with, and again, they say it probably won't go much higher, but they're not specifying what that means. So 5%, what, 6%, whatever. We'll see. Okay, so what they're saying here is that after turmoil in finance markets that follow this trust mini budget, because you got kicked out, right? The OPM. Investors forecast interest rates peaking at 5.25%. Okay, this is what the investors think is going to happen. Okay, they'll go to 5.25%. Right, that's another 2.25% more than what it is now. Right, and people are already hurting from the last increase, but now it's 3%. Uh, right, it says here the bank's report said the economy has been subject to a succession of very large shocks. Monetary policy will ensure that as the adjustment to these shocks continues, consumer price index inflation will return to 2%. So there's the hopium, right? 10 years going to go back down. So however, it added that there were many moving parts to the economic outlook, uncertainty, essentially is what they're saying, right? Domestically and from the global economy, to make forecasting economic growth next year difficult, right? That's reminding me of a scripture actually. Is it glass? Oh, come on, man. Yeah, right. It's from First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12, right? So everyone's trying to predict the future. Everyone's trying to work out what it is, right? What's going to be happening going forward, right? So you got these guys out here trying to make all these predictions, right? But they can't see. They've not been given the sight to see, right? They're not given an understanding of prophecy, so they don't really know. So they're definitely looking through like this dark glass, right? They can't see clearly, right? So for now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as I also am I known? Right? These guys are literally they can't see. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. There's nothing but hope. All right, they're selling hope that this kingdom is gonna, make a comeback, right? But now but the prophets now we've been given a clearer understanding of what's gonna happen, right? So there are considerable uncertainties around the outlook. The committee continues to judge that if the outlook suggests more persistent inflationary pressures, it will respond forcefully as necessary. So like I said, there's no reason why these pressures are going to go away. Which I'm going to got a couple more articles on that. So home buyers with tracker or variable rate mortgages will feel the pain of the rate rise immediately, while the estimated 300,000 people who must remortgage this month will find that the 2-year and 5-year fixed rates remain at levels not seen since the 2008 financial crisis. Right? So mortgage payers that need to refinance will be hit by a $3,000 a year increase in interest payments, the bank estimated, while private rents were also expected to increase sharply after the MPC decision. All right, so shit don't look good. It's not looking good, bruv. All right. So that's that concerning the banks. All right. But now we're into businesses, right? What's going on right now? It's from the Mail Online. It said nearly 40% of small businesses in the US failed to pay rent in October. Right. Again, we're just discussing about the mortgage rates and the rent rates. They be going up, right? It's doubly more so for businesses. All right, their consumer spending is down, right? That's why the economic growth is slow, because everything's gone up in price, so people are not spending as much money because things are so costly. All right, and again, that's all down to these prophecies and taking hold, right? Revelation 6:5 said, when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Right? This basically is outlining inflation, man, and how things are going to become like really difficult to buy. It's very costly to buy. Right? When you go into this, it goes into the pennies being representing silver in Rome, right? And that it costs a man a full day's wages to be able to purchase a liter of wheat or liter of barley or whatever, right? So things are going to become extremely expensive. So therefore, we're not buying as much, right? It's, simple. People are not buying as much because things are becoming more expensive. All right. So yeah, consumer spending is down, and these businesses are obviously suffering because they're not making the income to support the rents, to pay for their rent and their energy prices and all of that, right? So nearly 40% of small businesses in the US failed to pay rent in October, with more than half saying their prices have been hiked at least 10% over the past 6 months. All right. Since findings published Tuesday by Boston-based business tracker Alignable illustrate the stark effect inflation is having on everyday Americans. The survey of 4,789 small business owners saw more than half of respondents say their rent is at least 10% higher than it was 6 months ago. If you go back 7 months, the majority said rents have increased 20%. The study found that roughly 37% of small businesses, are almost half of all Americans working in the private sector, were left unable to pay rent in October. These companies are on life support, man. They are not going to last much longer, right? And these rates are gonna keep increasing, and their business, their trade is gonna become smaller, and eventually they will go down. Today, there was an article that I read on this glass manufacturer, I think in France. And they've just decided to shut down their plant for 5 months or 6 months or whatever it was, right? Because of the energy bills, right? They're obviously not making enough money to sort of offset that, and so they've decided to shut their plant down for 5 months. Okay, which means, well, currently, the employees, they're getting subsidized. Okay, so the government are supporting 70% of their wages, so they don't get made redundant essentially, right? And the companies giving the other 30%. But they're at work, and if that shit continues, man, that's not an indefinite situation. They can't continue that forever. Eventually, something's gonna give, right? And maybe the company won't be able to open up again. So yeah, a lot of businesses are struggling. All right, a lot of businesses struggling. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 3 on me, right? Let me start from the top actually. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. Okay, we're heading into those evil times, man. Okay, but who's really preparing? Who's really turning to the Lord? Who's putting two and two together, man? That this is all prophecy, this is all judgment that the Lord is bringing upon the earth and upon His kingdom. Like now is boy, you better turn to the Lord while you have opportunity to, before you're in the thick of it. So remember now that thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. Okay, so if these businesses go out, guess what? Unemployment's going to go up. People are going to be out of a job, right? Crime is going to increase, because that's a correlation right there, right? It creates this situation that's all written in the prophecies, man. It's the Most High attacking this place, causing these things to happen, bringing these plagues and these curses and these judgments upon this earth, man. All right. It says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. All right. So again, that whole idea of being able to predict what's going to happen. You got these people out here, these economists, and these business, people, and that trying to predict or telling you that, oh yeah, we think it's going to go back to this and it'll be all right after this point or whatever. But they don't. But they admit there's so many uncertainties, man, because there's so much going wrong on the earth right now. Really, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's just hope, false hope, man, because they're not. These problems and these issues are not going to go away. They don't see the future. They can't see the future, but we see it. We understand it because of these prophecies, man. Okay, it's been laid out for us. All right. And the doors shall be shut in the streets. Okay, these businesses, they're going to close down. More business, because obviously all these businesses already started closing down from way back. A lot of businesses have fallen by the wayside, in recent years, right? But only more is going to happen. More and more, and the next year more and more. That's the trend. A lot of these businesses, the majority of these businesses are going to go under, right? And like I said, these men can't pay their rents. It's just a matter of time, man. All right, it says that and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right, so that's the point, man. The grinders shall cease. These grinding. The door shall be shut in the streets. Okay, these men are on borrowed time. Okay, it won't be long. All right. Okay, it says compounding concerns is the fact that several states such as New York and California are already well over the already higher national average. All right. So yeah, you got that. Right, this is the last article I've got here from the Epoch Times. This is fuel company issues diesel shortage warning. saying US rapidly devolving. Things look to get worse. That's what we're saying. Things look to get worse, not better. I don't know where these economists are talking about. Oh yeah, things are gonna settle down next year. Yeah, I don't believe in any of that. But because that's not what prophecy dictates, man. Things are gonna get worse, not better. All right. Actually, what we got here? Okay, it's not that one. Um, Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 37 says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." Right? As when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains come past her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Right? Things are only going to become more intense, okay, more painful for people. And, the intervals between things happening is becoming shorter. This world is really in a messed up place right now. Things are always happening, thick and fast. Okay, which is signals to us how close we are to the end. Right? It's not going to let up. Right? It says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come on it on every side." All right? That's the outlook. Okay, that's what these people don't see, or they're not telling you. All right? But anyway, yeah, fuel company issues diesel shortage warning, says US rapidly devolving. A major fuel supply company has issued an alert about diesel fuel shortages in several southeastern US states. States that are expected to experience shortages include Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina, Mansfield Energy said in an alert last week. The company also noted extremely high prices in the Northeast, right? So it's all related to these prices, not necessarily, well, there's a shortage, right? But the higher prices is having that effect because of the shortage, right? So they're having to pay these crazy high prices because, they're losing access to the diesel. This is a poor pipeline shipment economics and historically low diesel inventories are combining to cause shortages in various markets throughout the Southeast, the company said. These have been occurring sporadically, with areas like Tennessee seeing particularly acute challenges. It noted the fuel prices are 30 to 80 cents higher than posted market average due to tight supply. Okay, supply and demand, right? You know how that works, right? While saying that fuel suppliers have to pull from higher cost options at a time when low-high spreads are much wider than normal. Fuel carriers are now having to go to multiple terminals to find supply, which delayed deliveries and strains local truck capacity, it said. Due to rapidly devolving conditions, the firm issued its Alert Level 4 to address the volatility, according to the statement for the southeastern United States. Mansfield said that it is issuing a code red alert and is requesting 72-hour notice for deliveries when possible to ensure fuel and freight can be secured at economic levels. All right. So what do you think is going to happen when these trucks can't move, right? They can't transport goods. We're already seeing the issues with that during the pandemic, right? But that was more related to workers, not having the workers because everybody was sick, right? The world kind of stops, man. The world kind of stops. But if you now you might have the workers, but now you ain't got the fuel. You definitely ain't moving anything. Not one thing, you know. Like the diesel's like the bloodline to all of that, man. And you cut off the blood, probably nothing working, man. So you ain't gonna get your food, you ain't gonna get your goods and all that stuff getting transported because it's just not available, right? And obviously trucks are not the only thing that use diesel. Ships, cargo carriers, all of that stuff. Okay, they run on diesel. And this world is trying to push everybody to run electric and do this and do that, be greener. Well, there's some things that just you can't avoid, right? Them type of stuff they don't operate well, right? You need diesel to run that type of stuff. Heavy duty fuel, right? So diesel enables most of the shipping across the United States and is used by long haul trucks and freight trains, while gasoline prices have dropped since they posted the record highs in June. Diesel hasn't decreased nearly as much and currently stands at $5.31 per gallon. Mad. Bottlenecks in supply chains caused by the CV9, right? Lockdowns and soaring energy prices have added to rising price levels. Data released early this month showed that the consumer price index, a key inflation metric, has risen 8.2% over the year in September. Republicans, meanwhile, have targeted the Biden administration for its policies around oil drilling, pipeline construction, and unremitting focus on promoting electric vehicles, like I mentioned, right? In response to the energy crunch. They're more focused on trying to be green right now than stopping the world from fucking descending into quick chaos, you know? Because that's the whole point. That's the whole part of the plan. They're making these issues prominent because they want to collapse this world. The Most High is making them collapse this world, right? A sane person would just say, "Look, man, we need to put this off just a bit longer, because right now we can't function without those old fuels, those old the old energy types, you know." But no, they we must do this now. Do you really? Do you really need to do it now? They're going headlong first with it, man, and they're just killing off. They're killing off everything. They're making this world come to a stop, to a collapse, right? So the White House has released tens of millions of barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, bringing it down to about 400 million barrels, or the lowest levels in a decade. All right, so yeah, that's that, right? So all these are problems, man, that are just not gonna get solved, you know. And like I said, these are all the times and the signs that that we're witnessing that is bringing about this collapse, bringing around the end of the world, man. Okay, leading to the Lord's judgment. All right. So 2 Ezra chapter 9 verse 1, it said, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." Okay, and we're waiting, we're diligently waiting for this day. Okay, so of course we're, jumping on things and reporting things and bringing out the scriptures constantly, right? And like I said, it's so much so that it just sounds like we're repeating ourselves all the damn time. But this is what's going on. Okay, we're showing you the signs. Okay, we've been given understanding of those signs, and we're sharing that. Putting you up on game. All right. It says, "Thou shalt understand at this very same time that wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when they shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world," okay, which is going on, right? "Then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, the end is manifest." Okay, everything's manifesting now. Okay, we're in the end of the end times, It says, "For like as all that is made in the world," so like verse 6, "Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs." All right, and our job is to watch out for these signs, man. Okay, to filter them through the scriptures. All right. So 2 Ezra chapter 15 verse 1 says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy." That's what we're assigned to do. So this is what we're doing. Doesn't matter how many times you hear the same precepts or the same breakdowns. That's what we're here to do, man. Right? It says, "Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." Because really it's the Most High, making us speak these things. Okay? "And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." So you got guys that don't believe what we're saying. Fine, whatever, we don't care. Shall the why have I forgotten that? My brain doesn't work so well these days, man. unbelief. Help if I can spell it as well, don't it? Bro, my brain really ain't working today, man. Can't even spell right now. Right. Brain's all fragmented. Well, I don't know why I was struggling with that, but anyway, Romans 3, verse 3 says, "For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?" All right, so we don't care you don't believe. You know, that's not the important part, man. Obviously, the elect are gonna believe, right? And this is who we're really out here for, the elect, right? Those are not of the elect or are of no concern to us, right? So you can have your complaints and your disagreements and whatever, don't mean shit. Anyway, back here, 2 Ezra 15, right? Because even here it says, verse 4 says, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." So why do we care? Why do we care if you don't believe, man? You know, we know what's gonna happen to you if you don't repent. You know, so that's just what it is. Verse 5, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." You know, like I said, these trucks ain't gonna be moving no food around, right? Source, these food sources are already getting strained. The grain and all of that, it's already getting strained, right? And it looks like the strain is gonna get worse, So the Lord is bringing us all upon this earth right now, right? So behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right, that's what's happening. Okay, we're not gonna close out with this. Daniel 12:1. "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time." Okay, that's why so much is happening on the earth right now, globally. Nothing but problems globally. Right, the whole world is going to sink into darkness, into chaos. Okay, that's why everything's happening all at the same time, all around the world. Because we're heading into that time, man, where everything is going to fail. Okay, the forecast ain't looking good. I don't care what these economists and these guys, these forecasters have got to say. They don't know shit. They don't know shit. Right, things are only going to get worse, man. They can't see. They've been blinded. They see darkly. They can't see. Okay, but we see clearly what's going on and how it pursues the scriptures and what's going to happen as a result. All right, and it's going to come down to this time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Right, it says, "But at that time thy people shall be delivered." Okay, we're hoping that we're of the elect, right? That we can be delivered in that time, because the only way out of that is through the Lord. All right. So we're not trying to sell you hopium in terms of like, oh yeah, don't worry, this world will be fine. No, this world is going into hell, right? But out of that hell, we're hoping that we're going to be delivered out of that hell through Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That is our hope, man. So that's what we're looking forward to. All right. But again, with that, Lord, when this was an edifying video, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next one. So until next time, I say shalom.